Alright, welcome to Superliminal, the game that is definitely gonna expose just how dumb I actually am. Oh, it's sad to know just how right I was with that statement. I'd like to introduce you to Superliminal, a 2019 Stanley Parable type game that challenges you to change the way you look at your world in order to solve the puzzles around you. And if I had to sum up the experience in 2 words, it would be mind-bending. Like, genuinely, I thought I was just tripping balls at certain points. And in today's video, we are putting on our big brain and diving into this game to hunt down the Platinum Trophy. So, without much further ado, let's get into it. Superliminal kicks off by getting way too real way too quickly.
Are you filled with feelings of self-doubt? Do you find yourself prone to minimizing massive dilemmas? Or for allowing the smallest problems to get blown completely out of proportion? At the Pierce Institute, our patent...
Yeah, alright there, game. Calm down. You haven't even brought me dinner yet. Okay, what's this? Hey up a minute. Can I actually know what I'm signing for? Is this it? Clinical, you can't see me. Clinical phone number. It says redacted. Okay, well, woo. Okay, so what? I'm like 2 minutes in and my brain already hurts. This is not a good sign. But now that I've signed my non-existent soul to the devil, it's time to actually experience some gameplay, which is ridiculously fun. Basically, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, Superliminal's core mechanic is the ability to influence the objects around you with your own perception. For example, being able to make an abnormally large chess piece regular size by just moving it closer to you. This mechanic acts as the basis for the majority of the puzzles in the game, so we're introduced to it early and given a couple of opportunities to practice the basics. Now, on the topic of what the game offers, the story that unravels as we progress through the game is actually relatively simple, and since there are no trophies up for grabs for chapter completions, I'll just be giving a brief overview of what happens as we make our way through. Chapter 1 acts as our induction to Somnosculpt, a new form of therapy in which we enter a lucid dream world where we can interact with the things around us. However, when we reach the end of this orientation, we're met with a brick wall and have to use a slice of cheese to bust ourselves out. How very Wallace and Gromit of us. But before we progress any further, it was time for me to tackle our first trophy, and I must warn you, this one got a little bit intense. I knew from the start that this was going to be the one that could threaten my entire run, and so I wanted to get it out of the way as quickly as possible. Basically, what I had to do was pick up an object and stand still for 2 minutes. Honestly, I almost quit that one halfway through. Moving on, we make our way forward to the exit. Ah! Did I die? I feel like I said I comment a star, please? And this is where our story truly begins. We're told by a Dr. Glenn Pierce that we didn't wake up when we were supposed to and have essentially fallen off the map, with nobody on the research team knowing where we are, and that we just need to keep moving forward until this changes. So that's exactly what we do. We also get started on grabbing as many collectibles as we can along the way, of which there are a surprising amount. Superliminal tasks you with pulling every fire alarm, emptying every fire extinguisher, collecting every blueprint, discovering the secret of every constellation room, and finding every chess piece. Such a strange selection of things to hunt down, but with a trophy waiting for each one, I'm not about to bite the hand that feeds me. These collectibles do prove to be a little bit trickier than I initially thought they would be, so we'll return to them later. But for now, we do manage to unlock Fire Alarmist for pulling 1 fire alarm, and then Expert Fire Alarmist for pulling enough fire alarms. I mean, call me old-fashioned here, but I would have thought that enough would be 1? Hey, can someone check the fire safety on this building before we all get turned into roast chickens? Chapter 2 is called Optical and is significant for introducing us to the new mechanic of being able to spawn objects into existence by lining up the image of it in front of us. We also managed to grab a missable trophy here by climbing up to this random doorway in a warehouse. Please use other door. Other than that, nothing else really happens, other than Dr. Pierce telling us that they've installed a series of elevators that should allow us to break through the levels of our subconscious, with these elevators acting as the end of each chapter. Chapter 3, Cubism, features a rather strange abundance of dice, which don't exactly behave in the way we've come to expect previously. Another... What? What do you mean? As we progress through, the intercom lady tells us that we need to enter even more dreams so that our mind will suffer an explosive mental overload, which doesn't sound fun at all. Couldn't you just kick me into some water like they do with Leonardo? Chapter 4 is called Blackout, and, well, I'll just show you this clip. Eh? No, I don't like it. Yep. Chapter 4 is essentially a nightmare level where you make your way through dark and creepy corridors, get jump scared by chess pieces standing in doorways, and find the kitchen of Michael Myers. And I've gotta say, this entire section was genuinely creepy and had me on edge throughout. Especially after Chapter 3 established that the rules could change at the drop of a hat, and left you feeling like you really didn't know what was going to happen next. There could have been some Lethal Company style monster in one of these rooms, and I don't think it would have felt out of place. Anyways, moving on, and we end up in Chapter 5, Clone. This level, surprisingly enough, introduces the ability to clone objects by interacting with them rather than moving them, which creates some really new and interesting puzzles to solve. We also managed to grab another missable trophy here, which was meant to be unlocked by dropping a clone of this apple onto your own head. But what I did was just headbutt it, accidentally while trying to move it. It's not as bougie of a solution, but I got Son of Man all the same. Story-wise, there's not much to report on, so on to Chapter 6, Dollhouse, which featured a lovely relaxation room. Ah, I love clouds. It also featured some of the most challenging puzzles of the game in my opinion, especially this one that required you to access the golden keyhole using just these two doorways. It took me way too long to realize that these doorways are linked, and you need to stack one on top of the other in order to reach the hole. I was just trying to climb up the damn things for the longest time. But we managed to progress, and again, with not much story to report on. So, on to Chapter 7, Labyrinth. And it seems like we've finally reached the end, as a voice tells us to prepare to conclude our experience.
Please prepare to conclude your Somnasculpt experience in 10, 9, 8. Error logged by.
Orientation protocol.
Stand by for analysis.
You are exhibiting signs consistent with an increase in fear, hopelessness, and frustration. This is inconceivable, as Somnasculpt therapy is proven to correlate with a decrease in these emotions.
So what, you're keeping me here because of that? Like I can't leave because your thing isn't working?
Conclusion. Emergency exit protocol cannot proceed. Emergency exit protocol has been emergency destroyed.
And so we're doomed to continue, and this is where things get weird. Hello. Ah! Ah! Oh, are you taking the piss? Like, just imagine being drunk or high and playing this. This entire chapter really messes with you, and every rule that you learned previously is basically thrown out the window. Eventually, once our brain has been sufficiently melted, we arrive in this room, where we can interact with the building that we are currently standing in. Confusing, right? Well, it gets even more confusing when we take the little building into the portal that links it to the bigger version. Oh.
Please paradox from creating any refrains. Explosive.
I don't like it.
Please overload for dream explosion.
I died. Is it death? This brings us on to Chapter 8, Whitespace, and Chapter 9, Retrospect. Here we witness the conclusion of the story, in which Dr. Pierce reveals to us that we haven't actually been lost in the dream world at all, and that everything that happened occurred exactly how it was designed to. Each of the challenges we encountered before this were intended to be exactly that. Challenges that pushed us to look at our world in a different way in order to overcome them. And I have to say, I was absolutely mesmerized whilst playing Whitespace because holy shit was this entire level gorgeous. It wasn't as puzzly as previous chapters, but I really didn't notice because I was just enthralled by it all as I made my way through. And the message that the voiceover delivers was actually really interesting as well. Pierce talks about how we can often be so afraid of failure that we refuse to see our problems from different angles or refuse to try new things, which, ironically, just leads to failure anyway. His dream therapy was therefore designed to force participants to think outside of the box and change their perception in order to overcome seemingly impossible challenges. And then he gives us one final instruction.
All you've got to do is wait up.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Nah, I'm just messing with you. For completing the game and overcoming our childhood traumas in therapy, we unlock Wake Up. Whew, alright. In typical Aaron Duke fashion, the story is complete, but the Platinum Hunt is not. So it's time to get cracking on the rest of the trophies. The first set we decided to tackle were the ones associated with the soda can machines, of which there were 5. Yep, you heard me correctly. Almost 25% of the total trophies in this game are related to interacting with these soda cans in some way. Listen, just go with it. I promise it's much easier. The first one we unlock by yeeting a soda can into the air and letting it drop to the ground. If you yeet it high enough, it will explode on impact and earn us Sugar Crash. Next up, we get a trophy for buying every type of soda at least once, unlocking Soda Connoisseur. And now that we're done with the cans, we're tasked with getting rid of them. We try one of these orange bins, but that just spits it right back out at us, and awards us with Take Your Trash Elsewhere. Alright, geez, no need to be so touchy about it. So we try a different bin, and hooray, it doesn't spit it back out at us. But the trophy is called Please Recycle, so we're clearly still not doing something right. Finally, we come across a recycling bin and drop it in there to earn Environment Saved.
Tell no one.
Moving on, and next on the list was a missable trophy from the clone chapter. We head back there and reach the first clonable door once again. Once here, we spam the ever-loving crap out of the clone button until we create full chaos and are awarded with Why Are You Like This? Jeez, you sound just like my mom. With that out of the way, it was time to turn our attention back to the collectibles, starting with the fire alarms and fire extinguishers. I was pleasantly surprised to learn that I had actually found every single one of these during my travels apart from one of each type. And thankfully, both of them were located in the same chapter, Induction. So we loaded back in and hunted them down. So, fire's extinguished for getting all the fire extinguishers, very nice. And then, fire safety achieved, pull all the fire alarms. Mwah. Beautiful. Unfortunately, when it came to the rest of the collectibles, I hadn't been as thorough. Let's start with the chess pieces. Throughout the game, we encounter many different types of chess pieces, but the ones we're looking for are much more hidden, requiring us to live out our Spider-Man fantasies and climb around the levels to find them. Overall, there are 15 of these to track down, and when we grab the final one, we unlock Chessmaster. But that's not all. Because once all of these have been found, we can interact with this computer screen in the office at the beginning of each level, which had previously had a black screen. Doing so takes us to a room with an active chess game on the table. We see an easy move in front of us, so we take it and win the game, earning us Kasparov. For context, this trophy refers to Garry Kasparov, who is considered widely to be the greatest chess player to have ever lived. Nice reference. Moving swiftly on, we set our sights on the constellation rooms, of which I had found a grand total of 0. These are easily the most impressive collectibles of this game, and most games I've played before. The first step is finding the entrance to each of them, which are normally hidden in some sort of random shadow in a chapter. Once inside, we then need to line up the stars to form an image which we can then collect. Overall, there are only 7 of these to find, and when we grab this rather fetching light, we're rewarded with Stars Align. And another really cool feature about these constellations is that each item we collect then shows up in the background of the main menu. Once we found all of them, we're then actually given the ability to step into this background and explore it. Okay. Ooh. Oh. Well, this is cool. Tester of the Year. Polite recognition. Find the hidden trophy. This is the hidden trophy. The game actually gave me a gold star for participating. The final collectibles to be mopped up were the blueprints. Apparently, these give the blueprints of whatever chapter we're currently in, but yeah, I'll just take your word for it. Similarly to the chess pieces, there are 15 in total for us to hunt down, and when we do, we unlock Feeling Blue. And now, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it is time for our final challenge of Superliminal. Both of the remaining trophies before the platinum can be unlocked if I manage to do one thing. Replay the game again, and this time, beat it in under 35 minutes. Oh, I do love a good speedrunning challenge. And I was feeling pretty confident with this one. After spending a couple of hours hunting down each collectible and playing through the levels multiple times, I'd become quite comfortable with the puzzles and what I needed to do to progress. So 35 minutes seemed very doable. But of course, that was just a theory.
Behind me.
Oh my god, I got 4 minutes. Oh, I'm a little bit worried now. I thought we'd be alright. But, Jesus H. Christ, that's going down quicker than I thought it would. Oh my god, I got 2 minutes. I got less than 2 minutes. Oh, this is ridiculous. Yes. Okay, did I do it? I think that's it for the game. Really? Yes! Oh! Speedrunner, Superliminal, and let's have it! Yes! 34:10? Oh my god, I was fucking less than a minute. That was actually stressful. I can't even lie, that was stressful. I did not think I was going to hit it. And there we have it. I had managed to scrounge whatever brain cells I could find down the back of the couch cushions, earned the platinum trophy, and now there's nothing else left to do but say that our Superliminal platinum hunt is completed. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. You should go and play this game. Because, oh, what an experience! It's mesmerizing, challenging, randomly terrifying, and under all of it, carries a message that I think is actually fairly pertinent. I had so much fun with Superliminal, and I'm very happy that you guys voted on me to play it. As for the trophy hunt, this was just as enjoyable. It basically just requires you to explore every nook and cranny of the game, with some random tasks thrown in for good measure, and overall doesn't really ask too much of you. I've seen some criticism online that this game was too short, and to be honest, I have to disagree. I thought the game was the exact length it needed to be without feeling like it was overstaying its welcome or overusing the same puzzles. Could it have been longer? Yeah, probably. Should it have been longer? I really don't think it would have added anything to the experience. Overall, one of my favorite games that I've ever played. Thank you guys so much for voting for this one and for watching this video. For now though, have a great day and happy hunting.